Hey Honest community, before we dive into this episode, we've got a quick free favour to ask. If you enjoyed the Honest Property podcast, please hit like, follow and subscribe wherever you're listening from. It helps us grow, reach more people and bring on guests that you want to hear from. Thanks for being a part of this. We appreciate you more than you know.
Hello, and you're listening to the Honest Property podcast with your hosts, Becky and Ruth. And we built a multi-million pound property portfolio over the last 12 years. We talk about unfiltered chats about building wealth, purpose, and freedom that actually feels good to you. So today we're talking about the fetish of 7 figures. So is chasing a 1 million revenue mark really the goal, or just a distraction for what truly matters in a world obsessed with 7-figure success? Maybe the richer question is, does that number make life better or just busier?
Oh, it's spicy. I really loved the play on the word of fetish of 7 fingers because, in honesty, Ruth and I mean, because Honest Property Podcast, but Ruth and I were fetishizing 7 figures right at the beginning of our wealth building journey, and I think it's really good to have a goal.
I would say not even wealth building journey. I would say even when we built our first passion business, because, well, I mean, we had low overhead, so it was quite easy to have a lot of profit from that business. But you're still, because it's new and fresh, you're like, get to the next mile marker.
Franchise it and have all this land and staff and systemize, and oh my god, that wasn't the dream.
We were just like,
Not
we
the dream.
must make umbrellas of everything, just branch it out.
Because if you don't grow, you die. But there's other ways to grow, and it doesn't have to be like that. But I really like the play on the word fetish because it does make you think, like, why am I obsessed with 7 figures? And like now, 7 figures isn't even very much. Like, it's not going to get you very far. If you are there's a mismatch between the lifestyle that people think 7 figures can get you, but it's not enough to give you luxury. That's for sure. Definitely not now. So why do you think people are still attracted by 7-figure goals?
I think it sounds impressive. It sounds impressive to make 7 figures. I think this is like freelancer edition from like your business. Social media pushes it and it makes it like an idealized number on social media as like a symbol of success. So that's like the biggest one because it's good marketing and it will lure people in who aren't making like that don't understand what that really means. It just looks impressive.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it looks like ambition and security, that it's proof that you've made it. And I would say we definitely were sucked into that sort of marketing of like that in a business sense. You've got to keep hitting those milestones to make more. And it makes you feel insecure every time you get to that next point where you start making more, because it actually quickly, once you go, oh, I only made more this year, and that's what your accountant tells you, then it doesn't last very long. That like, oh, right. That just means more tax to pay.
Yeah, it could actually hurt you.
And then it's the perceived opportunity, which is scaling. Seems like you get more freedom because you've scaled and made more money. Like, it's like an upgrade in your lifestyle. And if you have a team as well, and with your property investing, but like, that's not really the truth.
I like that perceived opportunity with lifestyle upgrades. It doesn't necessarily Like you could be burdening yourself more than actually freeing yourself the more you grow.
Thing is, I've talked to other small businesses who have also said, they look amazing on social media. It looks like they're making so much like revenue every single year, but actually they're in a point where they are at a scaling point. And when everyone knows that if you're at a point where you're scaling, you're not making much money because you're putting all of that money from your business into other parts to scale your business. So you're taking less income to make sure that you then hire that person to be able to boost your business up, or you start like paying more to upgrade if you're like selling something in e-commerce or whatever it is. You're taking less of a paycheck to make sure that there's a trade-off when you're doing that for your business. And a lot of the time, you're the one that your lifestyle is sacrificed to make sure your business plummets forward.
Plummets forward. I don't.
That the wrong words?
I feel like plummet goes down.
Oh no,
I can't.
Woohoo! Your lifestyle plummets, but your business slowly grows into unlocks the next level. But that takes trade-off.
It's a sacrifice
Yeah.
for the entrepreneur that not enough people really talk about.
Mm-mm.
Because it doesn't sound fun and it doesn't sound appealing to be in that position, but that is the truth most business owners go through.
Hey guys, if you're new to property investing, we know exactly how hard it is to figure out where to start. That's why we created the Beginner's Roadmap. It's your guide to mastering the fundamentals so that you can move forward with clarity and confidence. Just hit the link in the show notes. Now, let's jump back into this episode.
The trade-offs and the real risks, especially for freelancers, it's going to be 2026 soon, in 2026, is, and I could talk about out and stress. It's freelancers face, you face income uncertainty, isolation. Fortunately, Ruth and I had each other to go through this, but I know a lot of people do this independently. Yeah, that's hard and a lot of pressure. And the reason this is especially relevant now, and we got more into the facts about this at a summit that we went to earlier in the year. Oh my gosh, feels like ages ago.
Yeah.
Among self-employed people is that burnout among self-employed people is rising. A lot of people report stress, anxiety, mental health struggles because of this irregular income and pressure and trying to keep up a facade of everything's
Everything's
successful.
great on their marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to lose face, or
You want to be uninspiring.
yeah,
Like it's a bit, but then that's false.
yeah, maybe there's a shift. I feel like there are more people being vulnerable nowadays online, which is really refreshing to see, and just sharing the reality of what it's like to go through what they're going through. The other risk is cash flow danger. Many businesses fail not because their ideas aren't amazing, but it's the cash flow to get it to survive, or by they to survive.
If you weren't able to sell however much you needed to meet a target to sell, you've got to keep that money in the business because that business needs to make sure that it continues being a business. So what then happens is that then you can't pay yourself. And I've seen so many businesses which is quite common, especially if you're a startup, that they don't pay themselves for at least
Sometimes years.
a couple of years. Yeah, and that's that's normal. That's normal, but people don't see that. People don't see like how if you really believe in something, you have to keep going, but know that you've got money somewhere else to like back you up whilst you're going through this, or take grants out, like use the grant systems that are available to you depending on what industry that you're in. I think that's something that we didn't think about until we went to it was like a small freelancer business event. Where was it? It was in Bristol. It was actually really cool. what was it called? I can't remember, but they are basically the ones that are saying that there are so many grants that you can take out as a small business owner that you should use it to help say plummet, to help push you forward in your business. You don't have to just use your own money.
And I think when people share their achievements online, they talk about the gross turnover of their business. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't, I know. If you're listening to this, Ruth and I just did the biggest eye roll ever.
I turned over this. I was like, that means nothing.
That means nothing. Hey, what did you put in your pocket at the end of the day? That's all that matters. Just because, like, you could have a high turnover that looks really impressive and shiny but then your bills, taxes, wages you have to pay people, inflation eat into that. And a big revenue doesn't always mean net profit or financial security. You could get very little at the end of that.
So actually, when anyone says my turnover was this, I could roll my eyes as hard to the back of my head, because then I go, something sus.
Oh, really?
Spicy. Yeah, I do, because it's like, I don't think that's being honest.
Like, why didn't you say net?
Yeah, but
What
like,
you mean?
that's why I think, and I'm saying that because it's from past learned mistakes with a partnership that we put ourselves with. So they used to say that, and I now go, I don't believe that.
Was. The other thing, this is a big deal and a recent learning curve for us, was there's no guarantee of happiness or alignment.
Duh.
I know it sounds so obvious, but
What though, if you are so, like, I will even say, like, I would personally say, definitely in my 20s, have defined my self-worth a lot by how much I made. And I am happy to say that that is exactly what I thought, because we were so used to working so hard all the time. Of course, you want to be rewarded with seeing that, like, you made something monetarily. But now I'm in my 30s, I realize so much more that it's not just about, like, you cannot just define yourself by, like, how much money you make, because you're just never going to be happy or satisfied. Ever. Because there are unpaid things that you do as well that can make you really happy and satisfied in your life. The unpaid labor of life.
yeah.
So I think it's dangerous. It is dangerous, especially when you are so passionate about what you do as a business, to feel deflated if you don't earn a certain income or like a milestone of how much you want to make.
Yeah, that's true. And the more you feel like it does and you don't snap out of it, you'll just end up trading your time for more stress. And your freedom number actually turns into a trap.
Yeah.
Because, and then it sounds like maybe it's an oversaid thing, but you need to know why you're doing it all in the first place, and make sure that whatever your freedom number is, it truly reflects on what you want your life to look like, from that money that you're going to get, and the time you're going to get, and the energy you're going to expend on doing that thing.
Yeah. I agree.
And the other thing is, the statistical odds are stacked against you. Many small businesses and startups fail. We have started and failed many businesses. My first business was an e-shisha business, and now vapes are like the thing. I'm really glad I'm not in it anymore, because I didn't see, like, personally, it doesn't sit with me ethically, and, like, I didn't understand it, like, the health. Like, it wouldn't sit me now.
It was cool. And
That it was,
exciting.
yeah. And I enjoyed shisha back in the day. I was like, this is how I can take shisha with me everywhere. But now, like, it's not an interest or passion at all. I didn't really have it. But they start and fail, and you try and try again. That is the game. You keep going and try different businesses until there's one that fits you perfectly, that you can hold on to long enough to have it grow or sell it later. But putting that pressure on yourself with each business, going all in, chasing big numbers every time, means you're betting against the odds. And who are you doing that for?
Yeah.
And why?
Before we continue, here's a quick thought. Ever feel like there's just never enough time to focus on what really matters in your business? You don't have to do it all alone. As they say, a great team makes everything easier. That's why we've partnered with the Freedom Geek. Their talented Filipino VAs help us with tasks like admin and podcast editing, just like for this episode, giving us the freedom to focus on what really moves the needle. If you're looking to reclaim your time and to work smarter, then check out the Freedom Geek. All the details are in the show notes. Now let's get back to our conversation.
If you can go into a business where you feel like I can continue doing this every day and love it, you're more likely to last longer than just chasing a number and being like, I have to make this, because then it becomes like desperate energy. So over half of UK businesses, I think you've already said this already, but they have poor mental health. That was in an article in Simply Business UK. Many freelancers deal with irregular income. It's just true. It's just part of it. We used to get late payments from our clients and our other business until we realized actually we need better system. But this is all just over time. You build better systems to make sure that you're getting the money first. And according to a recent study, Small Business Stats, a large portion of businesses fail in only years due to cash flow problems. Turnover alone doesn't protect you, which is true. So what we want you to ask yourself is, what does 7 figures really give you? Is it luxury, security, time, like mental calm?
And would you, if I think on that point, you really need to figure out what your freedom number is that gives you the lifestyle that you want. Because the good news is probably way closer than you think. I know I said that 1 million isn't, 7 figures is not that much in the grand scheme of things. But depending on how you build your business, if you decide to pursue like property, for example, and have residual income, how much is it going to take? How long is it going to take for you to get there?
Reduce your overhead costs.
Or an online business, break it down backwards. How much is a happy life going to cost you? Can you adapt it? Ruth and I live in Southeast Asia right now. Can you move? Move. Are you staying in the same place, in the same group of people that are maybe putting pressure on, you feeling pressure to keep up with the Joneses? Maybe on the other hand, they're inspiring you, but is it really making you feel good?
Yeah.
What can you do? What can you adjust with your business or your freelancing, your investing, and your lifestyle so that you can reach that freedom figure sooner than later? Because you probably can.
Yeah, so could you lower your revenue, lower stress, setup, give you a long-term freedom, more long-term freedom than chasing high turnover?
So an example of that is Ruth and I did Airbnb. We did Airbnb. We did rent to rent, and they were fast businesses because, of course, when you have guests, it's a 24 service that you are providing. And as much as we had systems in place, it was still a lot of work and didn't align with the type of lifestyle we wanted to live. So we got rid of these higher stress setups and focused on, even if they gave us lower revenue, with lower stress, vanilla buy-to-lets for long-term freedom and actually having the lifestyle we wanted.
Is success just a number, or is it what you do with your money, the life, the choices, the peace that counts? I don't think it's like you say, oh, your freedom number. What can that look like? That might not even be like when you say you're closer than you think. It might just be like your essentials might give you the most, like give you your freedom now, and that's something to work backwards from first. Then increase it to the other luxuries.
Yeah.
If you're already a freelancer or self-employed, does chasing growth align with your values, or will it cost more than it gives?
That's a familiar. That's a place we've been.
Yeah. We've done a lot of work to figure out what that means.
Yeah. It didn't align with our values. A few times. But you
There
do
are
it.
seasons. I do believe there are seasons for it. And I think, we're like, even with investing, you don't want to become over leveraged. And
Yeah.
we're in a season where we want to make sure we do not become over leveraged and we are settling until the next thing comes. And that's not going to be investing back into the UK. So that
Our goal now is we want everyone to have financial literacy. Our passion now is we want every person to have financial literacy and understand how to invest in different asset classes. I feel like there's so much information about stocks and shares, but there's not enough information from people who want to build aligned wealth. Or like I don't feel like we were personally represented. That's why we've decided to create Honest Property Sisters, to encourage people to learn about the other asset class that they know about but just don't know how, and that's property. It is another strong asset class to
because
build.
it
Yeah.
is it is the asset class that ends up being the last one that everyone does after they've built their stocks and shares. Everyone on social media that preaches about only stocks and shares, who have got to a point, have now gone, I'm now investing in property. So that is diversifying.
Yeah. And we want to help people by understand how to invest in this asset class that aligns with their values and doesn't consume all their time, because it's still so valuable. And we've been through all the different strategies. I think we've literally been there. And if you're anything like us, then yeah, like this is what we're here for. We just want to be the people that we wish were there for us. Because every like, especially in the property world, it's very hustle bro still, very loud, very big numbers, very I make more. I know it's in our bio, but I want to let you know, and this is to be honest, it's true. It's true. I'm very proud of what we've achieved, but people don't listen. You will not stand out. People don't listen unless you say numbers like this. And we were advised to say, oh, they're like, why didn't you mention that on your bio? And I was like, because I didn't think it was like,
Well, 'cause we have downplayed our achievements for a long time.
yeah. And like the truth.
But actually, a lot of people have said, why have you not said this?
Yeah. And if putting it on our bio on Instagram attracts more people to learn and grow their financial literacy in a sustainable and aligned way, then that's why that's there. I just wanted to disclaim that. I know we put it on our bio, but like it's also because we're trying to help people and create, like, if it's a way to attract people and create more aligned wealth for people, then that's why. But please don't let that make you feel like you have to get to that point. If you invest in diversified assets and every person has, especially women, has at least one property, then that's like that makes us really happy.
We're not against having ambition at all, because I think you should want to strive to be ambitious, with what the world would be very boring. And like Becky said, we put those number on because we're not chasing numbers for the sake of ego. We're just trying to, it's a form of marketing, and we want to inspire the people to know that they can do it. You can do it too. And like Becky said, if one woman buys diversifies in a property asset class, that makes us really happy.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want a loud number, you go right ahead. We're all different. We're all different personality types. If that's what drives you, then go for it. But if you want a steady, sustainable, grounded freedom, maybe it's time to ask whether that 7-figure dream is really the dream for you, or just a big distraction from the life you actually want to live. I think that concludes this episode, actually, don't you? Follow us on Honest Property Pod, and on YouTube, Instagram. If you have any more to add, please leave us a comment. We'd love to carry on this conversation with you. And like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.